Ever catch yourself just like daydreaming,
Yeah.
you know, about having it all figured out, the dream job, the perfect relationships, like total inner peace.
Oh, yeah.
But then, bam, reality check.
Right.
And you're stuck wondering, like, how do those people with the perfect lives, how do they get the cheat codes?
It's such a common fantasy, though, isn't it? And that's where this deep dive into focusonyourself.txt gets so interesting. You're ready to, like, ditch the self-help aisle and actually unlock some of that potential?
Sign me up. This source, it doesn't mess around.
Yeah.
Like, right off the bat, it's like 100% responsibility for your life.
Whoa.
Not just your money, but your thoughts, relationships, the whole shebang. Honestly, I was a little taken aback at first. Like, is this even possible?
I get that. It really challenges the way we're conditioned to think, right?
Yeah.
Like, that external stuff controls our happiness, our success, basically everything.
Totally.
But instead of getting stuck blaming ourselves for things we can't control, focusonyourself.txt, it's saying we've got way more power than we realize. It's about recognizing our ability to choose how we react to things, to build good habits, and ultimately how we design the life we want.
It's almost like we've been handed the keys to like our own personal life design studio or something. But
I like that.
most of us are too busy staring out the window at everyone else's creations to realize what we're holding.
That's such a good way to put it. And that takes us to the next big idea, finding your purpose. Now, before you tune out thinking, ugh, not this again, focusonyourself.txt, it doesn't go the usual route.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more.
It's not about, waiting for some grand destiny to reveal itself or quitting your job to chase some vague passion. This is way more grounded. It's about paying attention to what your life is already telling you. What are you naturally drawn to? What just seems to click for you?
So like those things you just get.
Exactly. The things that light you up. What activities make you feel energized, excited to get out of bed in the morning?
So it's like our lives are always sending us these little signals.
Yes.
But we're so bombarded with everything else, we miss them.
Totally. Those gut feelings, those flashes of joy, or even frustration, they're not random. They're clues pointing us toward our unique talents and passions.
Okay, I love that. Valuable data right there.
Exactly.
So instead of feeling lost, we can become like detectives of our own lives.
Yeah.
I'm already feeling more empowered just thinking about it.
Yeah.
But what do we do with all those clues? Like, we've cracked the case. Now what?
That's where the real work comes in. This is where we shift from just feeling to deciding specifically what we want. Because here's the thing, focusonyourself.txt, it's not about just dreaming bigger, it's about choosing better.
Oh, I feel that. We've all been in that trap, the always busy but never satisfied cycle. Hustling, checking things on the to-do list. But at the end of the day, it's like, wait, was that even the right list?
Exactly. And it's often because we haven't gotten clear on what we really want. We have these vague wishes, better life, more money, more happiness, the usual, but without concrete goals.
It's just a recipe for that hamster wheel, right?
Totally. Running and running, but never getting where we want to go.
It's like trying to bake a cake with no recipe, just tossing in whatever and hoping for the best.
That's a great analogy. The key takeaway here is choice. Focusonyourself.txt is saying it's not enough to just wish for a better life. We have to consciously choose our goals. And those choices, they have the power to activate our minds to start finding solutions.
Like that whole where attention goes, energy flows thing.
Exactly.
If we're not clear about what we want, our energy, it's all over the place, right? Scattered results. But when we define our desires,
things start happening.
it's like we're giving our brains a target to aim for.
It's like focusing all that energy, like a laser beam, right? And that brings us to one of the most powerful tools we have for reaching those goals, belief.
This is where focusonyourself.txt got really mind-blowing for me. It actually digs into the science of how our beliefs can shape our reality.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just some feel-good stuff. There's actual neuroscience behind it.
It is wild, isn't it? Our brains aren't just taking in information. They're constantly trying to predict what's going to happen next based on what we already believe.
Right.
So if we believe we can achieve big things...
Our brains get on board.
Exactly. They start looking for ways to make it happen. Suddenly you're seeing opportunities you might have missed before.
It's that whole Henry Ford quote, right?
Yeah.
Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Love that one.
Our beliefs, they become self-fulfilling prophecies.
Ah.
But, and this is important, the source doesn't just talk about positive thinking. It also calls out that inner critic we all have. That little voice that's like, you're not good enough, smart enough, talented enough. The complaint department, the author calls it.
So true. We've all got that tenant living rent-free in our heads.
Right. But imagine if we could evict that negativity and replace it with something more empowering. And this is where things get really interesting because the source introduces this concept of reverse paranoia.
Reverse paranoia. Okay, I gotta admit, that one threw me at first. Isn't paranoia like expecting bad stuff to happen?
Exactly. How do you reverse that?
It does seem kind of counterintuitive, right? But the source makes a really compelling case. Instead of always bracing for obstacles and setbacks,
Which, let's be honest, we all do.
all the time, reverse paranoia says, what if instead we expected the world to support us?
Whoa. Okay, that's a big shift.
Right. What if instead of fixating on what could go wrong, we started looking for those open doors, the helping hands, the opportunities that are already all around us?
So it's like flipping the script from scarcity to abundance.
Yes.
Believing there's enough success, enough happiness, enough opportunity for everyone. I can see how that would change everything. But, okay, how do we actually cultivate this reverse paranoia thing?
It starts with awareness. Once you see those negative thought patterns, those, oh, it'll never work out tapes playing in your head.
Which we all have those, by the way.
Totally. But once you see them, you can start to challenge them. Instead of assuming everyone's out to get you, choose to believe in the good in people.
Fake it till you make it.
Kind of. But honestly, the more you look for evidence to support that belief, the more you'll actually find it.
It's like we're training our brains to scan for the positive instead of automatically going to the negative.
Exactly.
And speaking of training, the source then gets into a more practical approach, goal setting.
Love it. Getting down to brass tacks.
Right. And it's not about those vague wishes we were talking about earlier. I want to be more successful or whatever.
Yeah, those are too fuzzy.
Exactly. Focus on yourself.txt is all about setting clear, measurable goals. Because when you have that specific target,
your brain can get to work.
Totally. It's the difference between saying, I want to be more successful and I'm going to increase my sales by 15% this quarter. One's a wish, the other's a plan.
And that's where the rubber meets the road, right? It's not enough to just think the right thoughts. It's about taking action. And the source is great because it emphasizes that even small, immediate changes can make a huge difference.
Yes. It's about building those small wins, building momentum.
And that sense of agency, like, I can actually do this.
Right. I love that it gives you practical steps you can take today because so often we get stuck thinking we need to make this massive, overwhelming change.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna be this big, dramatic thing.
But really, it's the small, consistent stuff that adds up over time, right?
100%. It's about building those positive habits one day at a time. But here's the thing, and focus on yourself.txt. Doesn't sugarcoat it. Change can be uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Like, sometimes it's downright scary.
Especially when it means challenging your comfort zone, those limiting beliefs, maybe even what people around you expect. It's almost like we're programmed to resist change,
Totally. Even when it's good for us, it's like...
Yeah. Even when we know deep down it's the right thing.
It's crazy how we do that.
We come up with every reason under the sun why we can't possibly change.
Oh, I know all the excuses.
It's too late. It'll never work. It's too hard. You name it. But focus on yourself.txt. It really pushes back against all that.
It does. It reminds us that growth, real growth, it takes guts. It takes effort. And sometimes, yeah, you might even disappoint some people along the way.
Because you're choosing yourself.
Exactly. You're putting your own growth, your own path first. And that can be hard for some people to handle.
It's about realizing we have the right to change our minds, change our direction, heck, change our whole lives, even if it makes other people squirm a little.
I guess it's your life.
It is. It's about owning that, stepping into who you really are, even if it ruffles some feathers along the way. It's about becoming the author of your own story.
Yes. Not just reacting to whatever life throws at you.
Instead of being like, well, this is just how it is, I guess.
Right. It's like, no, I get to write the next chapter. And that's both exciting and, like, kind of terrifying.
No pressure, right. But the entire plot of your life hinges on your next decision.
And that brings us to, I think, the heart of focus on yourself.txt. It's this idea that you aren't just a product of your circumstances, you're the architect of your own life.
That's so powerful.
It's a call to action, an invitation to step into that power and create the life you truly want, one intentional choice at a time.
I'm telling you, this deep dive blew my mind. So many light bulb moments. It makes you really examine the stories we tell ourselves, right?
For sure.
And how we can rewrite those narratives to actually unlock our potential. Speaking of, what was your biggest takeaway from all of this, expert speaker?
For me, it was that reminder that we've already got everything we need within us.
We do.
We really do. To achieve our goals, to live meaningful lives, it's all there. The tools, the wisdom, the strength.
Just buried under all the...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Under all the noise and the self-doubt. So it's about tapping back into that power.
I love that. So for everyone listening, what spoke to you today? What's one small step, even a tiny one, that you can take today to start writing your own success story? Remember, you are the architect of your own life, and the possibilities, they really are endless.